Hi, welcome to my channel. In today's session, we will see a demo on CRUD operations in GridView with ASP.NET and C#. So this is the example we are going to see. This example. So this is a employee master. Actually, I have created one web form, and in that I have designed one GridView here, and I'm adding some columns here like employee code, name, designation, and salary. And in one column, I kept edit delete option, and in footer I added some text boxes, and here I gave one add button. Whenever user clicks on add, it will be binded to your GridView. If you want to update means you can do the inline GridView inline update also here. So here if whenever you click on this pencil, it will comes into edit mode where you can update the data here. And suppose if you want to delete the record, then you can click on this button where record will be deleted. For this example, we need some tools like we need Microsoft Visual Studio and Microsoft SQL Server. We need these two. So we are using front end as Microsoft Visual Studio, and database we are using Microsoft SQL Server. And this will be the implementation steps. We will check first one by one. First, what we have to do, we have to create a web project here. Then we have to create one web form with the GridView. Then we have to design a table called employee master in SQL Server, and then you have to create a store procedure for to read the data and insert, update, and delete. Okay. Then what we have to do is we have to create one connection string in Web.Config to establish a connection between your web application and database server, and we have to create a class file to store all our business logics. Okay, in real time we will create one class file and we will create all our business logics. Okay, so we will be doing the same process here. Okay, finally what we have to do is we have to bind the data to GridView, and we have to implement the insert, update, and delete. Okay, so first we'll see the demo, then we will try to implement this. So this is my web form. So what we have to do is we will insert one record here. I'm creating one record here. I'm entering the data now. So click on this add button. So record is added and the edit is saved successfully. Suppose I want to edit this data. You can edit here. You can click on this save symbol. Suppose I edited the data. I entered some data, but I don't want to continue with the save option. So you can cancel. You can click on cancel. Okay. Suppose I want to delete one record here. You click on this one. So apply deleted successfully. So this is the example we are going to see now. So we'll try one by one implementation steps. Okay. First, what we have to do is we have to create a new project. For that, I'm using Visual Studio 2013 for this example. So what I'm doing is I'm creating one new project now. Click on File, New, then click on Project. So I'm creating one web application. I'm using empty web application here. So I selected .NET Framework 4. If you want to use lower version or higher version, you can select. And I'm giving my project name as CRUD operations with GridView. Okay, I'm giving my project name here. I'm showing in my C drive. So click on OK here. So my project is creating. Go to Solution Explorer. My project has been created. Now what we have to do is next step. So we have to create a web form with GridView. Okay, first we will create one web form. Right click on your project, click on add, new item. So I'm creating one web form here and giving name as employee master for this form. Click on add. So our web form is created and we have to give title here. I'm giving employee master as my title, and I want to show all the data inside alignment center. I'm giving alignment center here. What I'm doing is here I'm creating one hidden field to store the employee ID. I'm storing employee master ID here for validation purpose. Okay, then what we will do is we will create one table here. So I'll give one border for this, and I want cell spacing. I don't want anything, so I'm making a 0, and cell padding also I'm making a 0. So I'm setting some styles to my table, and I want some border color. I'm setting border color as blue. So here what I will do is I will create one like employee name. I want to set some styles. I'm aligning text in center, and I'm making font weight. I'll set it here. Font weight bold. So this is my header. So then I want one more row here. So I want one column here, and I will create one grid view here. My grid view name will be GIT details. Not server. I don't want auto generated columns first, and then I want to show footer. I want to show footer also. That's why I'm setting as true here. Then I want to show headers when empty. Even if there is no data also, I want to show the headers. I want to create one data key name here to I keep the record. Will be like employee ID I'm giving. Then I need some functions called to add the record. There is a event called onRow. OnRow command. It will create one event here. Then I want to edit one row. For that, on row editing, I need one event here. Then whenever we are cancelling on edit, so I need one more event here. So while implementation, I will explain one by one this event. And after updating on row updating, I want one event here. Then finally on row deleting, we want one more event here. Now we will add columns to this grid view. So what we have to do is we have to add item template here, template field first. Then I want to align my items urgently sent. Here we have to add one template field, item template. So I'm adding one label here. So we have to provide header text also. Here I want to bind this code to this label. So we have to pass the imply code here. We need one edit template here. So I will create one text box called employee code. I'm binding same text to my text box also. Whenever user clicks on edit, data should fetch txt imply code. I need one more column, one more text box. I need footer here. For this I'm giving ID as footer, and I'm not binding anything, it should be empty here. Okay, so I'll copy this entire template field. So this will be imply code. This is the employee name. If you are a beginner, you can do the manually, don't do copy paste. That is the best option for you. Then I need designation here. If you are a beginner, just try to type manually so that you will get experience here. So I'm binding designation to label and edit text box. Then finally I want one more column called salary. And finally we want buttons here. I'll add one more template field. I want to align all these items to center on the buttons. Here what I'll do is I add one item template. So I need some images for add, update, delete and edit. Right click on your project, click on add, new folder, making as images, and I'll add some images to this folder. Right click on add existing item. So I have some icons here, just I'm selecting one, add, so it's added. So I'm going to add now image button here. Image URL I have to provide, then pick from URL. First I want to give edit, so the command name will be edit. I'm giving the width for this image is 25 pixel and the height also I will give 25 pixel for this image. I need one more image button here for cancel, delete. So changing directly here. Delete is my command name. And I want to give tooltip also so that user won't get confused with images. Whenever you click on image, if you move your mouse onto image, it will show the tooltip. Okay. Then I want some more images here for edit and edit template. I need whenever edit means I will save button here. Tooltip will be same. And whenever user don't want to save the changes, you can cancel here. Now finally I want one footer template here to add one add button. I'm giving command as add. So let's see the design. So I want to format this grid. Click on auto format and use brown sugar for my grid. Okay. Then next step, what we have to do is we have to go to MS SQL Server and we have to create a table and we have to read the data from the table. For that, what we have to do is we have to create a stored procedure to read the data, and for insert update we have to create one stored procedure, and for deletion also we have to create one stored procedure. So then we will see first step, we will create a table called employee master. For this example I am using Microsoft SQL Server 2012. Okay, I'm using Windows authentication here. If you want to connect to your SQL Server, you can use SQL Server authentication here. You have to provide the user ID password here. Expanded databases. I have the database called demo. Expand the database called demo. Then right click on tables. Click on new table. I want to create one table here. I'm giving employee master ID. is integer. I'm not allowing nulls. I want to set as primary key so that it will not allow any null values. Also, I want to set this employee master ID as identity column as yes, so that you no need to provide the values for employee master ID. It will increment with 1. Okay. Then I want the employee code here. Where care of 50 I'm giving. I don't want to allow nulls here. Then I want employee name. For this also I'm giving 50 characters. Then I want designation. Giving 50 characters here. Employee code will be integer. Then finally I want salary. Salary has been given as integer. I don't want to do any nulls here. And I want is debited. So I want to give it as 0. This is a bit. It is false. Why I am using this is deleted is whenever user is deleting a record, I am not going to delete permanently that record. What I will do is I will update the flag as 1. That means deleted is true. This record has been deleted. That's why I am updating as. So now click on save. I want to give the table name here. I'm giving as employee master for this table. Click on OK. So now check the table. Employee master is my table name. Click on execute. So my table is created with these columns: employee master ID, employee code, employee name, designation, salary. Okay, these columns we have created. Now what we have to do is, then next step will be, so we have to read the table. First we have to read the data from the table. For that what we have to do is, we have to create a store procedure. Okay, click on new query. Create is the keyword. We want to create procedure here. Procedure name will be Asp get employee details. Why I am giving USP here? This is user defined stored procedure. There is a 2 types of stored procedures in SQL Server. There will be system defined stored procedures also available. That's why I am giving as USP. USP is user defined stored procedures. Then I need one parameter called employee master ID to read the data. It is a data type is integer. This is the parameter name and this is the data type. Okay, but we have to do as begin. Then we have to end here. Suppose whenever user is passing employee master ID, if employee master ID is greater than 0, that means he is passing some employee ID to read the values. Then begin. You get the data where that employee ID is equal to that parameter value. If they are not passing any value, that means employee master ID will be 0. That time I have to select all the records from the employee master. Okay, what we have to do is select star from employee master where employee master ID equal to employee master. Okay, we will get that record. Suppose user wants all the records. That time what we have to do is employee master where there is 0. What I am doing is I am giving a where condition here. Only I want not deleted records. Suppose if already user is deleted that record, so I don't want to consider those records. So that's why I am giving where condition here, so that it will not fetch deleted records. Okay, this is our store procedures to get the data from employee master. Okay, we can execute. So it's executed. You can check here. Expand your program store procedures. Refresh here. So this employee details is created. Next step is we have to create one more store procedure to insert and update the data. Whenever user insets or updating, So we have to insert the data in this employee master. Okay. For that I'm creating one more stored procedure here. Become new query. Create procedure. SP insert or update employee details. Here we need to pass some parameters. What are all the parameters required for this? I need one employee master ID here. It is the data type is integer. And I need employee code here. It is also integer. And then we need employee name. You have to pass the data type, so it should match the data type and whatever the input you are providing, the data type should match, otherwise it will throw the error. Then I need designation here. Designation also same data type will use. Then I want salary. Salary data type is integer. And finally I want to return one message, output message, whether it's inserted or not. I want to return one return message. I'm giving 100 characters for this, and this is output. What we have to do is we have to catch if there is any error, means we have to catch it. We can try and then we'll try to catch the errors if any in the SQL Server procedure. Then catch. Suppose if there is any error, what we have to do is set message as error message. Now for the rate employee master ID is greater than 0, then I want to update the data because it is existing record. Else insert. Insert here. Update. We have to update the employee master table. Set employee code. I have to update with employee code parameter, then employee name with the parameter, then designation, then salary. Finally we have to put the where condition, where employee master ID. If you are not passing this parameter, then it will update all the records which is available in employee master. Okay. We have to put the where condition here. Suppose this is a fresh entry, then we have to insert the data. Insert into employee master. We have to pass the columns here. Then we apply code, apply name, designation, salary. Okay. Now we have to pass the values here. Apply code, apply name, designation here, and finally salary. Okay. So here what we are doing is we are creating one stored procedure to insert and update the employee details. Whenever user passes employee master ID, that means if it is a greater than 0, that time we are going to update. That means this is the existing record. Suppose if employee master ID is 0, then we have to insert directly into employee master. That means it is a fresh entry. Now click on execute. It's executed. You can check store procedures. Refresh here. So this is created. And finally, we have to create one more store procedure for create procedure. Delete employee details. Okay. You have to pass one parameter to delete the employee details. I need the parameter called employee master ID. Data type is integer. In previous insert update we missed one thing. Just alter. Whenever it is updated the data, we have to return the message as employee details updated successfully. Suppose if it is inserted means employee details saved successfully. We missed this return output message. We can execute all this earlier. So here, we are passing employee master ID. What we have to do is delete. For that we have to, for deletion, we need to update flag. Update employee master. Employee master set is deleted equal to 1, where employee master ID. This condition is must. If you are not passing this condition, means it will update all the records deleted one. Okay. Once it is deleted, what we have to do is, once it is updated deleted flag, we have to return the message. Here I need one more return message called data type. We have to pass here, and it is a output message. So employee details deleted successfully. Click on execute. So we have created insert, update and delete and to get the data. So we have created all the store procedures now. Those procedures we have created. Now what we have to do is, we have to create one connection explorer. Double click on Web.Config. Here we have to create one connection string. Add one name. Connection string will be my connection string. Connection string we have to provide here. Data source first we have to provide. The data source will be my PC name. My PC name is demo PC. Suppose if you are using your SQL Server, you have to pass the SQL Server IP address or server name. You have to pass. Initial catalog you have to provide here. Initial catalog is nothing but your DB name. My DB name is demo. Then integrated security is true. So that's it. We have created connection string. Next step, what we have to do is, we have to create a class file to store all our business logics. From this we will try to access the data from SQL Server. Okay. So what we have to do is, right click on your project, click on add. I want one class file here. So I'm creating as All my business logics will be stored here. BLL employee details. Click on OK. So now what we have to do is, first we have to initialize our connection string. For that I am creating a function, static function here. I want to return connection string. I'm creating one object for connection string. For this we have to import one namespace here. We need to use system.configuration, configuration manager dot connection strings. So you have to pass your connection string name. Open Web.Config, and I am copy pasting this name from Web.Config dot connection string. This is my connection string name. I assigned to CSTR1 object. Now I will return my connection string. Okay. Now we have to establish a database connection between your connection string and database. Okay. For that I am creating one more class called so we have to import two namespaces here using system.data and using system.data.SQL client. Now I will call connection here, SQL connection dot connection string. That is my connection string. So I'm calling here. So this connection string called here. Okay. Then return the connection string connection here. Now we establish connection between your SQL Server and web application. Now first what we need is, we need a data to bind in GridView. Whatever the existing data available in employee master, that data I need in a data table. For that we will create one function. I need a data table here. My function name will be get employee details here, and I'm going to pass one parameter called employee master ID. For this I need some objects called SQL connection. I'm creating object here, and I need SQL command to pass the SQL query, and I need SQL data adapter because we are expecting data table here. Then finally we need one data table to assign the data. Now by using connection SQL connection strings, finally I will return GIT employees, data table employees I'm going to return here. Now we have to assign the values to these parameters. We have assigned the parameters here. Now we have to assign the values. Now first we have to assign the SQL command here. Command dot connection dot create command. Now command, what type of command it is? It is stored procedure we are going to pass. Now we have to pass the stored procedure name here. It is the command text. We have to pass our stored procedure name. To get the data, what is the stored procedure name? We just expand the databases here. We have created some stored procedures here. To get the data, I'm using stored procedure called GIT Employee Details. I'm giving this name. Then what we need is we need some parameters. Comment that. Here we need some parameter we have to pass to get the employee details, because if you open this one store procedure, you can see this. It is expecting employee master ID here. Okay, we have to pass here command that parameters dot add. So we have to pass the parameter name here, and we have to give the data type also here. It is an integer. It is an integer. What we have to do is value. We have to assign the value, because here we are passing the employee master, so we have to assign with this parameter employee master ID. Now we will create new SQL data adapter here and passing the command. Now I will get the result here. Now I have to assign data adapter will be filled with. We have to store in employees data table, and finally we are returning the data table. What we are doing is we are passing SQL connection object we created here and command adapter, and we need to store the data in data table. Okay, we have established a connection here. Then we are calling one command called the stored procedure. Our command type is stored procedure, and we are passing employee master ID as a parameter. Okay, so then return will be one data table we will get. In that we are storing into DT employees, and we are returning as data table. Okay, we need one more function to add the data. That means whenever it is inserting, that time we have to use one function here like add I'm creating, and for this we have to pass the employee ID, then employee master ID, then I need the employee code required, then I need string as employee name, then I need designation here, then finally I need one more column salary. So I need all these parameters. I have to pass these parameters to SQL Server to install done. Whenever we want to insert or update, this function will be called. For that, what I need is I need one return message. First I'm creating one object here. Then I need SQL connection. Then I need SQL command here. So now what we will do is we will assign the values to these objects. I need a connection. So from SQL connection string we will get the connection. Then I have to pass the command connection dot create command. Then what type of, then I need command type command type I'm giving as command type dot stored procedure. Then I need command text. Command text will be our stored procedure name. We have to pass it here. For insert update, we have one stored procedure. This is our stored procedure to insert and update. To insert update, this stored procedure will be called here. Then we have to pass parameters here. So we will copy parameters and we will pass it. So if you are a beginner, I suggest you to type manually. So what are all the parameters required here? We need employee master ID, employee code required, and employee name, designation, salary, and message required. Okay. So we will pass one by one. So we have employee master ID here, and we have to pass and this parameter name should match with your SQL parameters. Then only it will execute the query. That's why I'm copying from SQL Server. I suggest to copy and paste from SQL Server. Then we need salary also. And finally, I want to return one message, output message. Okay, now we will assign the values. Here employee code, and you check the data type also. Employee code is integer and employee master ID also integer, but employee name is I gave varchar. This is employee name, and this designation also and varchar I provided. So then salary is integer only, no issues, and our message also and varchar only. And then assign 250 characters to this, and this I need direction as output parameter direction dot output, so that it will return the message. Finally, to open the connection here, open, and I want to execute the non-query, and I want to return the message. So what we will get is command dot parameters of the read message. So whatever the return message I'm getting, I'm storing in message. So now I'll close the connection. So I've executed the parameter and I'm closing connection, and I'm returning as message. Whatever the return output we will get, we have to return this. Now one more function we required. We completed to get the data and we completed for insert update. Now we have to delete the data. For that we have to copy this function and you create delete function here. For deletion we need only one parameter. So where is the delete employees? Check. We need two parameters. One is employee master ID required, and this is the output parameter. We have to pass two parameters only. Okay. So I'm pausing, I'm removing all other things, and we have to pass the store procedure name here. And I need master ID, and I need message as a return output parameter, okay, to return the message. That's it. Now we have completed from business logics. All logics I'm keeping. So in real time we will work like this. All the logics will be kept in one class file. From here we will call whichever is required. Okay. What we are doing is, first we are creating connection string and we are reading from Web.Config, and we are establishing a connection between SQL Server. And here first we are trying to get the employee details which is available in employee master as a data table we are getting. And second, what we are doing is, we are created one function called add to insert update the employee details, and we are passing the parameters. Okay. Finally, what we are doing is, we created one more function called delete to delete the employee master details. We are passing one parameter, employee master ID, and we are using this store procedure. Okay. Now we will implement these functions in code behind of employee master. Okay. Expand this, double click on employee master.aspx.cs file, and first I want to bind the data. For that, what we have to do is void get employee details. First I'll try to get the employee details. Okay, first we have to initialize business logic class. I'm creating an object for this. Okay, now what I want as a data table, because this you import system.data namespace, we need a data table. Data table name will be employees. Now I will try to get the employee details from business logic file. This is the function. So whenever you open the bracket, it will ask how many parameters. It's expecting employee master ID. So employee master ID, I'll call it from hidden field. Here I am going to store. Suppose if employee master ID is empty, so then what I want to do is, I'll pass as 0, else it is expecting integer, that's why. Okay, this we will convert as integer. So what we are doing is, we are storing employee master ID in hidden field, so that whenever there is a validation, so we can pass from hidden field. Okay, suppose if it is empty, so I am passing as 0 for validation. Otherwise, if it is value is greater than 0, then I am passing that employee master ID here. Okay, now we will get the data from the data table. Now what we have to do is, we have to check whether data is available or not. Okay. Suppose rows.count is greater than 0, that means if there is any data available in this data table, I want to bind with employee data source. So I have to pass data table as data source. Now I will bind here. Suppose if there is no data available, that time what we have to do is, so we will create one empty row here,
I'm creating one empty row. Now I will assign this data source. Why I am creating empty row is here is, suppose if there is no data here, I want to show it as there is no data. So data not found, like that. That's why I'm inserting one empty row. Okay. No data sources, blames and binary data. Now I want to merge these cells. I have some empty cells, so I want to merge these cells. Okay. The employee details, rows of, we know only one row is available. Cells, I'll clear all the cells first, then I want to add one new table cell. Then I want to use a call span here. So I want to use how many cells we have to use call span is. Now start how many columns available in the data table. I want to span with that number. Okay. Now I will keep this text. I'll assign it text to this call span column. So data not found. Now I'll set horizontally. I'll align the text center. That's it. Now this is the function to call the employee details. What we are doing is we created one data table object here. For the data table we are trying to extract the data from employee master. I'm passing employee master ID here. If suppose hidden field is empty means, then I'm passing as 0. Otherwise whatever the value available in employee master ID, that value I'm passing to get the data. Suppose if I'm getting any record from that, directly I'm binding to employee details grid view. Suppose if there is no records means, what I'm doing is I'm creating one empty cell here and I'm assigning the data not found message here. Okay. Then what we have to do is we have to call whenever page loaded, if it is not post back means I need to bind the data. So you just call this function here. Okay. Then what we have to do is we have to work it on add record. So whenever user clicks on this footer row button, plus button, so this record has to insert. So we are passing one parameter called add here. We are passing one GridView command here. What is the add command name is? We are passing as add. Okay. Now we will call the insert update function here. Suppose if e dot command name is equals to, suppose if it is name is add means I have to execute this command. So I'm creating one object here. My object name is result. Initially it will be empty. Then I have to pass some parameters to insert the data. So I have to read it from footer row. Whenever we are inserting, we have to read this text boxes values, and we have to pass the parameter. We need employee master ID, where it will be available in hidden field. If suppose this hidden field is empty, then I have to pass 0. Otherwise, you pass the value. So here we are expecting integer, so convert this into integer. Then I need employee code here. So employee code will be available in, we have to read the footer row now. Find control. I have to pass the control name. So control name we will get it from here. So this is the footer column. Just copy this text box name and we pass it here as text box dot text dot trim. Whenever you are reading text boxes, you have to trim. Suppose if you are not trimming, if there is extra spaces, it will consider. Okay, always you can use the trim. It is a integer, so I have to convert this into integer, this value. Okay, now I need one more parameters called, I need employee name. Employee name will be string here. Just I am copying and pasting. So if you are a beginner, you can do the manually so that you will get some experience. Okay, and I no need to convert here because this is a string value. Then I need one more for designation. Designation, and I need salary here. Passing designation, I have to assign the value. Designation is, this is the footer. Now I need salary. Salary is integer, so you have to pass this control name here to read the value. Now we are able to read the data from the GridView footer. Now what we have to do is we have to try to insert the data. For that, what we have to do is we have to call add function here. What it is expecting, it is expecting employee master ID. Passing employee master ID here. Then it's asking for employee code, then employee name. This order should match, otherwise it will insert duplicate names values. Okay, then I have to pass the designation, then salary. That's it. Now we will get the data I want to bind after inserting. I want to bind the data again with the grid, and I will show the return message here. We have to create one message here. So we need one label here. I have not created any label. We will create one label here. Message. So size will be font. We give it as bold, and I want color as green. Okay. Now I want to assign this text value with the result. Okay. Now I want to keep all in try catch blocks. Suppose if there is any error means it will catch. Okay. Suppose if there is any exception, I want to display a message here. And I want to change the text. I want to change for color. Drawing dot color dot red. Whenever there is error, I want to show it in red color. Okay, this is the add part we completed. Now I copy these parameters, and whenever user is trying to edit the row, that time what we have to do is we have to set the edit index as dot new edit index, and bind the data with get employee details. Suppose whenever it's not a method, so whenever user is cancelling, so I try to edit the row. After that again I want to cancel. That time what we have to do is edit index will be -1, so I'm cancelling. So again you have to do the bind the data. Okay, now whenever there is an updation, again we have to pass these parameters. Copy. Again we have to pass the parameters. From this time what we have to do is whenever user is trying to edit the data, that time we have to read from this text box, not from the footer. So from these text boxes we have to read the data from this text box, because whenever user enters or whenever user edits, so we have to read from main text box, not from footer. Okay, so I'm removing all the footer. I don't want footer now for updation purpose. I'm going to read from main text box. I have to take the data from convert from here. We should not take the data from hidden field. We have to take it from data keys, because we are binding the data to the grid and we are assigning data keys also. What is the data key name we provided is this thing is wrong. Employee master ID is our data key name. So this is my data key name here. So I'm going to read this value here, e dot index dot value to string. Okay, now we have to read the value from this index only, not from the footer value. That's it. We have to read from this row, not from footer. Okay, here what we are doing, we are passing parameters and we will get the output message here. And I have to set after executing, I want to set it as edit index will be -1 again, and then bind the data and show the message. I want to put all these things in try catch block. So if there is an error means I want to show it in message. Finally what we have to do is we have to delete the data. For deletion what we have to do is we need one parameter. We need only one parameter here. Okay. We want to result to call the delete. It's expecting employee master ID and passing employee master ID. Then we get the result here. I want to bind again details. Now it is deleted. I want to rebind the data. And I want to pass message here text to display the result here. Okay, so we will put this in try catch block. Before that I'll copy this, select all the code and click on surround with, type as try. So I want to display error message here. Now we will build the application. So there is no error, build succeeded and there is no errors. And run the application. Control F5 is the shortcut key. So there is no data, that's why it is showing as data not found. You can check the database. So this is the employee master of our table. So there is no data, that's why we are showing as data not found. We will insert some records here. So click on add. So record employee details saved successfully. You can check in the table now. So record is inserted. Now I want to add one more record. Click on add. Record is added. Employee details saved successfully. Check the database. Now I want to edit one record here. I want to change salary. So I'm clicking on save. It is saved. You can check the salary of Mr. Shiva, 89,000. It's changed. Suppose I edited. I don't want to change any changes. So we click on cancel here. so there is no change. Suppose I want to delete this record. Employee details deleted successfully. I want to change something. Click on save. Employee details updated successfully. You can check this. Whenever there is a data is deleted, we are updating this flag is deleted is 1. So now our example is working as we expected. What we have to do is we have to create a web project, and then we have to create a web form with the grid view, and we have to create employee master, one table called employee master in SQL Server. Then you have to create a stored procedure for reading the data, and one more stored procedure for insert and update, and finally one more stored procedure to delete the data. Then we have to create a connection string in Web.Config. To establish a connection between your web application and database server, we are keeping connection string in Web.Config. From there we are reading, and we have to create one class file to store all our business logics. So we are going to read the data from one class file called business logics. Okay. And finally what we have to do is we have to bind the data to GridView, and we have to implement the insert, update and delete functions. Okay. So that's it for today. So you can download source code from my description. Thanks for watching my video.